What is going on, fight fans, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got some verbal bombs being dropped by none other than the golden boy himself, Oscar de la Hoya. And trust me, he's not holding back on what many are calling the biggest fight in boxing, the mega clash between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence "Bud" Crawford. Just when you thought the hype train for Canelo Crawford was at full speed, De La Hoya jumps in and tries to derail the whole damn thing, claiming both fighters are exposed and that this isn't the biggest fight out there. We're going to break down exactly what Oscar said, why he might be saying it, and whether there's any truth to his pretty brutal assessment. This one's got layers, folks. We're talking fighter legacies, promoter beefs, and the eternal question of what truly makes a super fight. So buckle up because we're diving deep into this one. And hey, if you're new here or just love keeping up with all the drama and action in the fight world, do me a solid. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's get into it. All right, so let's set the stage. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Two absolute titans of the sport, both four-division world champions, both have held undisputed titles, and this fight, now officially rescheduled for Saturday, September 13th, is one that has had fans salivating for ages. Canelo boasts a stellar record of 63 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws with 39 knockouts. Crawford undefeated at 41-0 with 31 KOs. On paper, it's a dream matchup, a clash of generational superstars. But Oscar de la Hoya? He's looking at this fight and seeing something entirely different.
Canelo, Jesus Lord, come on. You're getting paid all this money to fight against a runner who we all knew was going to run, a Cuban style. You chose him, and now you say you hate fighting runners? Well then, don't fight runners. We all know who we want to see you win against. That's Benavidez. Go up against Benavidez. Fight Benavidez. He won't run. What's wrong with that? It's a good fight. But it's sad. It really is. You know, it starts from the top too. I mean, when you're fighting for the money and not legacy, every young fighter just follows that pattern. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the organizers, the people putting up the money, the promoters, you know. The fans especially. The fans want to see good fights. Let's go. It's the fighter's job to give the fight fans good fights. It's teed up for everybody. Turkey's bringing out his wallet and paying everybody, and the least we can give him is good fights. Go out there and fight. Anyway, I had to do this improv clapback, if you want to call it. I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated. But, hey, we got Crawford, Canelo. I'm looking forward to it. Even though they're both almost 40, I'm looking for it. Because it's a good matchup. But just show up and fight. Please, show up and fight.
He took to X, formerly known as Twitter, a few hours ago to really lay into the September showdown. Here's the direct quote that's got everyone talking, and man, it's a spicy one. So hear me out. Crawford will be 38 and Canelo is 35. Crawford hasn't fought in a year and got exposed by Israel Madrimov Scull. Canelo has been getting exposed for the past few years. Can anyone please explain to me how this is the biggest fight in boxing? Whoa, talk about a hot take. He's not just questioning the timing or the matchup, he's questioning the very credibility of both fighters at this stage of their careers and the fight's status as a premier event. As you can imagine, comments like these from a figure like De La Hoya, a former 6-division world champion and current promoter, they don't just fade into the background, they make waves. So let's dissect these claims, piece by piece, starting with his take on Terence Crawford. Oscar points out Bud will be 38 by fight time and hasn't fought in a year. That's factually accurate. Ring rust after a layoff is always a concern for any fighter, especially as they get older. But the real stinger is his comment that Crawford got exposed by Israel Madrimov Scull. Now, for context, Crawford's last fight was against Madrimov last August, where he won the WBA light middleweight title. De La Hoya claims Madrimov exposed Crawford. Some observers did note that Crawford didn't seem to be at his absolute best in that fight, and Madrimov certainly gave him a tough night's work. But exposed? That's a strong word for a fighter who still got the win and remains undefeated. Many would argue that even a slightly off night for Crawford is still better than most fighters on their best night. We're talking about a guy who is widely considered one of the craftiest, most skilled boxers on the planet. So was it a sign of decline, or just a tough opponent making him work for it? Oscar clearly leans towards the former. Now, let's shift to his comments about Canelo Alvarez. De La Hoya says Canelo, who is 35, has been getting exposed for the past few years. This is a sentiment that has been whispered in some corners, particularly after Canelo's recent fight against William Scull on May 3rd in Riyadh. Canelo won that fight by unanimous decision, adding the IBF strap to his collection to become undisputed at 168 pounds for the second time, but the fight itself was described by many, including Oscar, as a snoozer. De La Hoya didn't miss the chance to criticize Canelo for that performance, saying, "They pay you all this money to fight a runner that we all knew was going to run, Cuban style. You chose him, and now you say you hate fighting runners." Harsh words, implying Canelo picked an opponent he knew would lead to a less than exciting fight. However, prior to the Skull fight, Canelo had looked pretty good against Edgar Berlanga and Jaime Munguia, even if he didn't get the stoppages in those fights. So, is Canelo truly getting exposed, or is this an overreaction to one underwhelming performance, perhaps amplified by De La Hoya's personal history with the Mexican superstar? It's a fair question, and that brings us to the million-dollar question. Why is Oscar De La Hoya saying all this, and why now? Well, it's no secret in the boxing world that De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez have had a very public and often bitter falling out. Oscar used to promote Canelo, and let's just say their breakup wasn't amicable. So, is this genuine, unbiased boxing analysis, or is there a hefty dose of personal animosity, maybe even a bit of promoter jealousy, fueling these comments? Some sources are definitely leaning towards the latter, suggesting De La Hoya is hating that he has no involvement in this massive fight. One commentator even went as far as to say, "Golden Boy's in shambles right now, they don't have a star." So, yeah, this is a shot at Canelo. He already hates Canelo Alvarez, right? So this is a shot at Canelo. What makes this even more interesting is looking back at what De La Hoya himself said about a potential Canelo Crawford matchup just a few months ago, back in February 2025. Speaking to Fight Hype, Oscar actually predicted Canelo would run right through him, Crawford. He said, "Look, fighter versus fighter in talent. Obviously, Crawford is the craftier boxer, but Canelo has the size, he has the power, and it's like Bob Arum said, he'll run right through him. It'll be a tough fight, but stylistically, yeah, it'll be a one-sided fight for maybe, let's say, 7 rounds, and then Canelo starts attacking. He starts to take it to deep waters, and the power will eventually be too much. Will it be a great fight? Will it be a huge event? Absolutely." So, back in February, it was an absolutely huge event, and Canelo's power would be too much, but now, just a few months later, both fighters are supposedly exposed? That's quite a shift in perspective, isn't it? This certainly adds weight to the argument that there might be other motivations behind his current statements. De La Hoya has also been very vocal about wanting to see Canelo fight David Benavidez, stating, "We all know who we want to see you win against. That's Benavidez. Face Benavidez. Fight Benavidez. He won't run away." Could he be trying to undermine the Crawford fight to build pressure for other matchups? It's definitely a possibility. So there you have it, folks. Oscar De La Hoya stirring the pot, dropping some serious accusations about 2 of boxing's biggest stars. He thinks Canelo and Crawford are on the decline, exposed, and that their upcoming bout isn't the pinnacle of the sport he believes it's being made out to be. Is he speaking uncomfortable truths? Or is this a calculated move from a promoter with a history, trying to stay relevant or perhaps settle some old scores? What do you guys think? Is De La Hoya right? Are Canelo and Crawford past their prime and exposed? And most importantly, is Canelo versus Crawford still the biggest fight in boxing in your eyes? I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. Drop your opinions down in the comments section below. Let's get a debate going. And as always, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more of the latest boxing news, drama, and analysis, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you're always in the loop. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.